Hello, what's up? I am very excited as usual for every new episode on Experience Luchi podcast, AWL podcast. And today's topic is just something that I would love to tell you a story. Not really a story, but just a part of somebody's life I met today when I went to the market. So I knew that I came in contact with this woman, I'll say 2022 around that period. So there's a time when my dad was still alive, God bless his soul. So we buy our plantains in bulk during the period of time when we will not be able to visit the village. So I used to go to this woman's shop. I remember her sharing this cute little shop with one old woman. She's late too, God bless her soul. And she had just this rubber thing she sells, like Bela, rubber cup, rubber plates, and I just saw her that period. So I used to buy small things from her because I'm one that always encourage small businesses because I am a startup myself and we tend to do a lot of things. So I love to support people because I know the amount of the massive length my startup business would go if I have such backings you get. So I used to patronize her during those periods. So I went back to school, a lot of things happened. I've not been going to the market. So recently I started going to the markets again, and guess what happened? I went to this woman's shop, God. I was so appreciative to God for the level she's at. I am really someone that I can relate and I can always talk about the power of determination, the power of being continually doing what you are doing. Before we get right into it, hello guys, you are welcome to another amazing episode on EWL Podcast, Experience with Luchi Podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host, Emitizio Luchi Gloria, and our topic today is consistency. It takes you to a different mile. Do you agree with me when I say that consistency will make you prove to people that you are not what they presumed you would be? Does that make sense? Consistency will prove to people that God has not even started with you. And I think consistency is what defines that word we always hear people never neglect a little beginning. Don't you ever neglect a little beginning. I would always talk about my podcast because I remember 2020 after the COVID, I've always wanted to have a podcast. I love speaking in front of the camera, and it's kind of therapeutic for me. It's kind of a therapy for myself, so I love to do it. I would just speak on to the camera. I would just like give my thoughts on my 2 cents on different issues when I'm talking to people. So I've always known that I would be a podcaster and a YouTuber, but I was not sure how to start it. I kept saying when I'm done with school, when I'm like working on my masters and whatnot, I would do this. So after COVID and graduating school was pushed back to a year later, I started my podcast in a very cute corner in my room. I remember having these cute frames. For those of you that have been family members, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see how we started season one. So we had a space. Sometimes I would shoot in our sitting room. Sometimes I would shoot in my university environment. Then sometimes different environments. But I knew when I always spoke about my season two, when I was running up season one, I always say, oh, season two is going to be better and stronger and doper. And we have it, guys. We have a studio located in Delta State. So I'm really grateful, like, at what consistency can do for people. You being consistent with your hustle. This woman I'm speaking to you right now, I bought so many things from her today when I went to the market because I admire the zeal to make it regardless. People will tell you, say, Nigeria is hard. But this is somebody that had this little business. And in the country where it's hard, she was able to pull a full blown she sells kitchen utensils. And if you, her shop is a full blown one. Like she has toasters, she has everything to make your kitchen beautiful. Like I wish I could advertise, but I don't know how to describe her shop when you get to the market. And I'm just saying that consistency is a blessing that everybody needs to ask for. God is ready to bless you, but what is He going to bless? The Bible said He's going to bless the works of our hands. He's going to enlarge our border. The Bible also made us to understand that He will make us ride upon the high places of the earth. It's a blessing that comes with keeping God's commandment. But then again, if you are not doing something that God can see the consistency, the path you are trying to go, if God cannot see what you're trying to align with, what is He going to bless you with? So, in as much as I speak about consistency, a lot of people are consistent with bad behavior. A lot of people will prove you right each time that they cannot be able to manage things. But what are you consistent in? Your business, the values you have, the thing you want to be known for, your outputs to different things in general. What are you consistent in? Consistency is something that, even regardless of the fact that I have learned to be disciplined to some things I do continually, there are some things I wish I could be consistent in as well, like watching my dieting, going to exercise more often is something I'm still struggling with. Like I would do that. So what I do now is I try to create days when I would be able to exercise. Sometimes 10 days in a month. Sometimes I go for 20 days in a month, and it keeps me sane. It keeps me grounded. It gives me the sense of, okay, you are continually doing something. So we progress as we move. So if you're at a point where you just start when you drop, you start when you drop. Somebody will tell you, when you ask one of those successful skit makers, they will tell you, say, now you know if you like give up, and it's really true. If you are really serious about a path you want to venture into, if you are really serious about a path that you see yourself in the long run, you see yourself doing that in the long run, what would enable those things is consistency. What are you known for? I pass around and you're like, see this girl where they said something for Navy Street, to see this girl where they said something for this dial. I'm known for my hustle. I am a businesswoman. It was hard for me to kind of admit being a business um woman, because I've always wanted to work in a corporate world. I am not backing down on working in the corporate world, but I know that I have grown to love business. No matter where I see myself in the future, whether being a corporate lady, I'll always be involved in business. People already know me with that. And it's something that I have been consistent with over the years. Like I said earlier, I am a startup. I own a startup business as well. So I tend to see growth. I always say, I remember when I started lubricant business. So I was speaking to my dad about it, God bless his soul. And I told him I wanted to start oil business while I was still doing what I was doing. And I remember buying a certain amount of supplies. And now for whenever somebody wants to get lubricants, they'll be like, oh, that you get one guy they sell out for this place. So I get calls from different parts of the states where I base. And I'm like happy. It's something, even the word of mouth. When I meet you, I'll tell you, oh, I sell this. Even during the time we had like this harvest in church during Pentecost season, I remember bringing my business to present to God doing our first fruit in church. And someone actually collected my number. I was like, oh, how much do you sell this? I've been looking to get a retail price from a different place, because what they sell where I stay is different. So I'm really grateful for the power of consistency in my life. And I would say that there are some parts I think I would love to be consistent with. But regardless of everything, the message today would be, always trust the process. Always go out, always show up. There's something me and my brother always say, always show up. Because let me tell you something, we always have a good discussion, and me and my brother will be like, there's always going to be an excuse why something did not turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. There's always, see, excuse not they run dry. So you see excuses, it's something that is always going to, there's always why you could not do something. So the moment you understand that something can always come up, what matters is you always show up regardless. Even though you cannot, let's say, even though you cannot you don't trust yourself to be disciplined when it comes to business, I always advise start. Starting the process is the most important thing. Whether it's mistake, you learn along the way. Whether it's how to manage some things, you learn along the way. So there is no need for you to say, oh, let me do this first before I do this. Story go enter, excuses boku. So the moment you understand this, you would understand why you should always show up regardless. Always show up, guys. I think that is one thing I wanted to pick from this topic today on consistency. When we speak about consistency, always show up. I see these even with my brothers, like my brother's healthy, trying to build a healthy life. I see how consistent he is with his pursuit to live a healthy life. It is so lovely to watch, and you see the results. Like even for me, when I go for my dieting, when I go for my exercises, when I'm trying to build a healthy life as well, I see the power of consistency. And consistency at the end of the day just becomes a lifestyle because everybody's trying to do better. You get what I'm saying? So the power of consistency is being appreciated on today's episode. I tend to appreciate people that I know and I see them work hard, like the story of the woman I just told you about. This woman, I when I saw her, my heart was gladdened. Like I had to buy something, and I promised her that when I come to the market next week, I must buy something because if you see, like I knew her when she started. Like within the space of 2 years, you could see the margin of like the line of difference, the great difference in her life is something to be there's something to be celebrated. There's something to be pointed out. Like I celebrated her. There are some things that consistency does for you, and you cannot hide. You hate, even though you are an hater, no matter the bad belly way for your body, when you see the growth in people's life, there's just something you just have to celebrate. Like you just have to celebrate that regardless. I saw myself like I was like, wow, madam, I'm so proud of you. I kept saying, see your store all big, go. God bless. God is good. Even I was speaking to my sister. I went with me to the market. I kept saying God is good, and that funny enough, coming to the studio today, I was battering about what I was going to speak about, and saying that today in the marketplace just made my topic look like made coining my episode for this week easier. Like I could appreciate, I could sense, I could see the evidence of consistency in her life. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. The power of consistency. It's all it takes in my it takes you to a different mind, I promise you. Okay, guys, like I always say, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and in YouTube. Yes, guys, I have not been consistent with my video. You see what I'm saying? Consistency. I am guilty as well. I said it. I have not been consistent with my videos, my weekly videos, but I promise you, when life calms down a little bit, when activities is down, and you would get a video, just so put up your notification so you get a video when it's up. Okay, guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow me across all social media handles at Oluchimiteze on Instagram, on Facebook, on on Twitter. We also have a podcast page on Instagram. It'll be all underscore podcast. I always say this, guys. Don't forget to spread love because God is love. Love is God. Have an amazing week. And don't forget to always show up. It takes you to a mind that is totally different from what you're used to. I love you guys. Bye.